大的圣经，为此发挥及一切众生，请转妙法门，教导我们如何了生脱死，离苦得乐，速证无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to leave suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahari samya samputoshe.
Namo saranto suchedoye alahari samya samputoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。So if you can do the Chinese with me, you better do the English with me as well. Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Well done. We got that echo in there somewhere. We're still, good evening, everybody. 大家阿弥陀佛，师父上人，各位师兄，大家 good evening. My name is Heng Shi. Today is Saturday evening, May 10th, here in Berkeley, California. And is that somebody listening with their phone in the back, possibly? Is everybody, it's the projector, interesting. How do we mute yeah, if there's a remote, just mute the projector. I mean, it's nice to hear me filling the hall. Yeah. Nope, not that I know of. So, hi everyone, I am back. Nice to see you all. It's a pleasure to be here. We're investigating the Flower Garland Sutra. We are connected through to Australia, and if anybody wants to hear a fluent translation into Mandarin, go out and find us on the YouTube channel. Also a Vietnamese translation happening at the same time due to the kindness of our volunteers who are translating into Vietnamese. 如果各位想听一种流利的普通话，你们就知道哪里找到了，就有了。在澳大利亚，两位义工非常发心，在那儿帮我翻译这个普通话，还有越南的翻译。So we will. There you go. Got it. That took care of it. We will be chasing the gremlins here for a while. We've been doing this exactly the same thing, but from the other side of the planet for 7 months. And now we're back and we'll be here reliably, faithfully helping everybody investigate the Flower Garland Sutra together. How cool is that? Okay, good. It says okay now. Right, we're connected to Australia. At the same time, we have on Zoom today, we have friends from around the planet: Vancouver, Burlingame, Shanghai, Saratoga, Montreal, Canada, as they say, La Belle Province de Quebec. Ukiah, Bay Area, California. Mai didn't show up tonight, she's there. Gold Coast, San Jose, Virginia, Beijing, Harbin, Liaoning, Shandong. Let's see here, Taipei. 叶子云来了。吉林、四川，还有什么地方？唐山、河北、四川、深圳、辽宁。Isn't this fun? I mean, right? Anybody want to wave to your relatives in China? You go ahead. So, here we go. Let's see, Liaoning. Xini, that's Australia. Tianjin, Hebei, 西安，还有安徽宿州、浙江兰海、福建泉州，安徽淮南市、宿州、黑龙江、北京、唐山、深圳、河南。Wow, the whole gang is here. This is the varsity team. We're in good shape tonight. 河南、海南、新疆. Wow, far, far away. Let's see here. And brought right to us here in Berkeley, despite being far away. Shandong and Shandong. Good. The wonders of modern technology allow us to do that. And you know that Master Shenhua, our teacher, would be all over the internet as a means to turn the Dharma wheel. So anyway, glad to see you all. My goodness, real face, older, right? Yeah. Here we have an invocation on the screen, and can move that out of the way there. And this is sung. We do it 7 times. There's a melody here, and the idea is that by inviting the flower garland gathering of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, along with the gods, the dragons, the eightfold pantheon of Dharma-protecting spirits to come. In the past, when Master Hua would do this, you really had the feeling that they were there. You know, it just somehow, burdens got lighter, faces, smiles went from that to that, you know, just spontaneously. And you just, there was a sense that you left burdens behind, your spine straightened up. It was just a wonderful feeling to be in that room after Shifu instructed us to do the requesting. So now we're in the internet age. So if we're requesting here in Berkeley, but people are listening all around the planet, it's very interesting physics proposition. How does it work? And you have to know that from the Buddha's vision, this planet is about the size of a dust mote somewhere in a galaxy. And so this is no big deal for the Buddha to send out good energy to the whole world and everybody who's involved in the request. So here we go. John, you know what? I hate to disturb you, but you could slide over. I don't think there's going to be any Chujadong going
Dharma
to
message.
replace you. That way we open up a couple seats. We have folks still coming in. There are,
Dharma message.
Jerry, say again? Do you have the original song on? I do not. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Forgot about that. All right, all the settings. We have more benches here that have not been deployed in the back corner there. So if anybody wants to be vigorous, Billy, I think you're the guy probably going to help get those out because we're going to need every one of them before we're done, I think. So thank you, sir. All right. Next thing. Go ahead. 可以前边没有女众的哈。We want to say that the Chochechno Ohlone people practice spiritual connections to the earth and to all creation here on their ancestral land for tens of thousands of years. And we acknowledge them today as traditional custodians and original storytellers of these lands. We offer our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 就说我们恭敬地承认 Chochechno Ohlone 的人，他们是我们寺院所在地的传统叙事者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民也致敬了。Okay, isn't this an interesting custom for folks who let's take a pause here because this is an actual innovation from Master Xuanhua, but I think if Shifu were here, he would be on this one, contemporary, which is in Australia. The Aboriginals in Australia are the oldest continuous human civilization on the planet. They go back unbroken, tens of thousands of years, some 40,000, some say. The white people arrived and systematically wiped them out. And were, because virtue is still alive in Australia, one of the governments about 20, 30 years ago said, you know, we are not the original people here. We're on borrowed land or stolen land. And so it's appropriate when there's a public gathering just to say that, just to acknowledge. So acknowledging country. And it's not a guilt burden, oh, we feel bad. It's a welcoming. Because the Aboriginal folks said, what's done is done. We all come from the land. We've been here with our wisdom for a very long time. You newcomers are welcome. And the white folks have been on Australian soil for not as long as Americans have been on this soil. So the idea is that every culture brings its wisdom. Every culture brings its traditions. People are one part of the puzzle. In China, they talk about Tiandi Ren, heaven, earth, and the humans in between. And if you're going to live a meaningful, valuable life, everybody has to do their part. And when things break, climate, for example, you look around and say, who did that? You know, is it heaven, is it earth, or is it the people in between? So we need to acknowledge and learn from the wisdom of the humans who were doing a better job of holding up their end of the Trinity before we arrived. So it's called Acknowledgement of Country, and everywhere you go, it's different. This is the Chochechno Ohlone people. You know, anybody travel through Emeryville and encounter Shell Mound Road? Why Shell Mound Road in Emeryville? Because when we got there, the shells were all mounded up. Life was really good in the bay. There was shellfish for taking. There were fish. There were plentiful, abundant food for everybody to eat. And as a result, the Ohlone people, Chochechno Ohlone, the Muwekma Ohlone, were in the Presidio area. These people were not particularly warlike, because why? No need. Everybody had plenty. No need to go out and fight or knock down or aggress on anybody else. So there's a lot to learn. And so in Australia, this became the custom before every public gathering to first acknowledge country and to say, thank you for welcoming us to this new land where we have so much to learn, is the idea. So now, as I lecture, tomorrow night I'll be covering City of 10,000 Buddhas Sutra lecture at 7:30, which is the 10 Transferences chapter of the Avatamsaka. And who is that? Pomo. The land that is now City of 10,000 Buddhas for thousands of years was called Pomo Tierra. Well, it wasn't actually in Spanish. It was in the language of the Pomo, but it was Pomo land. Yokeo, Deep Valley, Shangu, is Ukiah, right? Yokeo became Ukiah. When I go to Australia, where we are, it's the Kombumerri people of the Ugambe language region. Australia has 250 different ethnic languages, Aboriginal languages. So everywhere I go, it's very interesting to reconnect. When I was in Taipei, and then I lectured down in Kaohsiung, and we had to do the research to find out who were the Aboriginal folks, the Yanzhumi in Taipei, and we found them. And there's a renaissance, there's a resurgence now of cultural pride and awareness. And when you go to China, it's interesting because Hanren go way back. In China, it's hard to find older than Han people but China is so diverse. There's you go to the next valley and people don't understand each other's language in China. So China's very interesting. That culture is straight back thousands and thousands of years. So interesting awareness. Here, through Canada. So we're standing on the shoulders of the wisdom that was gracefully living here, in harmony with heaven and earth, with sun and the moon and the water and the ground, and doing fine until we came with our machines and our engines and things changed. So that's why we're doing this. And so here in the Bay Area, Chochechno Ohlone. Okay, that's what that's about. And it's just acknowledging that wisdom is contained in the body, and you can tell how wise we are based on how healthy we are living in harmony with our neighbors, with the rain, with the sun, with the air, with the water, with the earth. So we just, that's what that's about. And it's slowly going back, and we appreciate what being in Australia and seeing before every public gathering, elections, meetings, entertainments, to the point where if you get on a Qantas airplane and you fly from Brisbane down to Sydney, before the plane lands, they welcome you to country. The people, the Gadigal people of the Sydney Basin, welcome you in the air before you land. It's very, very wonderful. Okay, we have this. Last time I was here, 7 months ago, we weren't doing the bell song because we forgot. Master Hua reminded us, instructed us back in Gold Mountain days, back in the 70s, that before you explain sutras, 讲经之前, there was a series of liturgies that you could do, and one of them is the bell song. I guess we did introduce it here just before I left. Master Guangquan was here from Hangzhou Lingyinsi, and Guangquan Fa-shi brought his disciple, Ming Zhen, I forget his name. And I said, Da He-shang, would you kindly instruct your disciple to let us hear the original bell song, the way it was done? And Guangquan said, No, 你唱吧。他说, oh, 师父, I don't want to do it. No, 你唱. I really want it. 你 do it. Do it. So he knelt right there, and I can't. I really don't have those pipes. But he sang the original bell song, and it's this one here, which people know. I recite it, but it's 众生传3000界内佛法扬万亿国中共训其法界和平利益报他诺厚德. The Chinese version has lots of like that, and it's like I can't. It doesn't sound right when I do it. So, Shifu had the former Bhikshuni Heng Yin, Lani Bauer, translate it, give it a good melody, and then he, here we go, and it goes like this. The bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. Like that. Someday I'll learn the Chinese and sing it for you, and you'll go, Fasher, we liked it better recited. That's. Thank you, Fasher. We'll give you an E for effort. All right. So there we go. Now, what are we about? We are investigating a pilgrimage. People are saying, oh, look there, who's that? Oh, she was here then, I forgot. Oh, yeah, so there she is. This picture is dated, because a lot of the faces just get bigger and grow up, It's amazing that we are now, let me go, admit that person. We got here in 1995. There are now, those of you who were children then are now parents. So, and I'm looking at some of them back there. Okay. Now, this is a story of a pilgrimage. This is the penultimate chapter of a very large text called the Avatamsaka Sutra, the Huayanjing, Flower Garland Sutra, and it divides into two major portions. Chapters 1 to 38 are theory of how someone would walk the bodhisattva path if they were so inclined, how one would do it in theory. And it includes 84,000 methods of doing that. The second half of the sutra is only 2 chapters, 39 and 40, but they make up 1/4 of the volume of the sutra. It's very long, 2 chapters. Chapter 40 is just a sliver, but it's a unit. So what is going on in that quarter of the sutra by volume, but chapter 39 and 40, is the practice of what was before, the theory, how to practice the bodhisattva path. There is a hero who comes forward. There is a pilgrim. There is a practitioner who comes forward. And his name is Sudana Shancai Tongzi, which translates as good and wealthy, good and rich, wholesome and wealthy, abundant. And he's a young man. He's in his 20s. He is the leader of 499 similar Tongzi, Kumara, they're called, good men, young men. And there's also a group of 500 young women, Kumari, and there's 500 adults who are the parents. And they come from the city of blessings in southern India. And Manjushri Bodhisattva has shown up, and that is a big deal. When Manjushri appears in town, in your civic park, you pack your picnic basket, and you get your blanket, and you get grandma and make sure she's got her lawn chair, and go down and listen to Manjushri. You want to hear what he's got to say when he shows up. So he shows up. First thing Manjushri does, and this is how the story goes. It's a spoiler. If you want to read it for yourself, sorry, you're going to hear it first. Maybe I'll whet your appetite. Who knows? So Manjushri, what does he do? He speaks a sutra for dragons. And an infinite number of dragons show up. He explains the sutra for them, and it says a good portion of them go off to rebirth on the spot. And you have to wonder, all these dragon bodies laying around, from they all left the dragons, they went on to the heavens, they went on to other rebirth, happily so. Now, the other portion of them stayed in their dragon bodies, but made the Bodhi resolve. They decided to become bodhisattvas, hearing Manjushri speak. So it's so interesting that the first thing he does is he talks to the dragons in great number, crosses them over. Then all of the locals show up and sit around. Manjushri looks and goes, oh, there he is. He's come. He's the one. That's the guy I've been waiting for. His name is Sudana, and he is a Zaifa Chi. He is a vessel that can hold the Dharma. So, young man, Manjushri spontaneously sings some spoken word poetry. Hip-hop, essentially, lyrics. And he just comes out the rhymes. And Sudana, hearing this, comes back with his own set of verses. Essentially, he says, I want to ride in that car. He says, Yuan wo zai ce cheng. Save me a seat in that vehicle. I want to ride. I'm coming. I'm with you, he says. And so, having exchanged these versified greetings to each other, Manjushri says, okay, now, he says, good man, he says, you're the one I've been waiting for. Go south. He says, you need to make the Bodhi resolve. Ya fa da puti shin, he says. And he says, you want to find teachers, you want to draw near, meaning get close to them, bow to them, respect, offer your respects to them, and then ask them how to cultivate bodhisattva practices and how to walk the bodhisattva path. Go for it, he says. Your first stop is a teacher whose name is Hayun Bichu, he says. So he sends him off. Sudana is like, I just met you and I have to go? He says, so yes, you do. Time to go and do a good job. So he's sending him on a pilgrimage. And so Sudana does, and he starts on his trip. And he meets Hayun Bicho, and then he learns, he asks him 2 questions. And Hayun, the monk Hayun, says, okay, he says, now I have a question for you. Have you made the great Bodhi resolve? Rui fa da puti xin vao? And Sudana goes, wait, what's aoi fa puti xin? Yes, I did. I made the Bodhi resolve a long time ago. He says, okay, roll up your sleeves, let's get to work, he says. And he teaches him how he himself got enlightened. That's what Sudana is after, is instructions from a teacher. And so then he says, okay, that's what I've got. You know what? I only know this much. If you really want to get an answer to your question, go south and look for so-and-so, ask him your questions. Which is really remarkable because in other religious scriptures, whenever the prophet or whoever speaks, it's like, that's the end, right? This is all you need. In the Avatamsaka, it's always, well, I've got a piece of the puzzle, but if you want to understand the whole thing, there's more to learn. I can't compare to the next guy or woman. So Sudana gets handed off to the next teacher, on and on. And the Avatamsaka specifies that Sudana, in almost every case, sheds tears and says, I don't want to go. you're a wonderful teacher. This is just fantastic. So, but I guess I will. So he bows to him, circles him, they say, to the right, limitless times, says goodbye, and goes south. So that's the story. It happens 53 times. And this incredible epic story, this is Mahayana Buddhism's epic story. There are epics. Gilgamesh is an epic. The Ramayana is an epic, right? And the Rime of the Ancient Mariner is an epic. You could say the Odyssey, Odysseus, is an epic. This is Mahayana Buddhism's epic story. There's a hero. He's on a quest. He gets wounded. He absorbs instruction. He transforms. And he returns renewed, different, having grown, having learned. Absolutely. People go, well, you make the claim this is we're doing lit crit here, literary criticism. Why hasn't anybody ever talked about the Avatamsaka Sutra as an epic? How many people do you know who've ever read the Avatamsaka Sutra? Before this, you had to speak Mandarin or read Mandarin. So luckily, our teacher spent 9 years explaining it, telling us week after week, night after night, year after year, this is important. Do a good job of what I'm giving you, of receiving it, comprehending it, translating it, sharing it. So since that time, we've been here since 95. We've been saying among ourselves, the Dharma masters here, that if we were to do it again, we would probably call this the Berkeley Lecture Hall, Bokalai Jiangtang, because Master Hua named Buddhist Lecture Hall of Berkeley, could also be. Shifu named his monasteries in Hong Kong and in San Francisco the Fojiao Jiangtang, Buddhist Lecture Halls. So, because that's what we do here a lot. All right, we have come to teacher number which? We've come to teacher number 6. His name is Jietuo Zhangzhe, the elder liberation or liberated. And Sudana has encountered him after 12 years of walking. Check it out. The last teacher, the one we finished just explaining just 2 weeks ago, was someone called Lord Mega, Mijie Daren. Now, Mega, each one of the teachers has their own personality. And I want to add that of the 53, 21 are women, almost half. A lot of nods going on there on this side of the room here. Mm-hmm. We know that, yeah. Who holds the wisdom? Mm-hmm. So he, this time, Mega was he presented him as a layman. He's not a monk. Out of the first 4, 3 were monks. And so Mega sees Sudana show up, having been sent by another monk. And Mega hears the questions. Sudana says, I really have all kinds of questions. How do you walk the Bodhisattva path? How do you practice Bodhisattva practices? Mega says, have you made the Bodhi resolve? Yes, I have. Mega climbs down from his seat where he is sitting in the city square explaining principles and bows to the student, which in any teacher-student relationship would be unusual, right? That's rare. The teacher bows to the student, paying him respect. And he goes on to explain, anybody who can make the Bodhi resolve is worthy of respect of gods and people. So then he proceeds to explain for him what's called the Miao Ming Tuoloni, he says, the wondrous light Dharani. What is that? We have other names for it. It's called the Huayan Zimu, the Avatamsaka alphabet. It's called the syllables, the 42 syllables of the Avatamsaka alphabet. And what is it? It's I keep getting notified here. I'm not worried about the time. I get a buzz. Oh, what's it? So Jerry is talking to Cliff in Australia, and Cliff is talking to Jerry. And I'll have to resist or just stop me before I look again. Right? So This is the esoteric aspect of the Avatamsaka Sutra. This is the secret school of the Avatamsaka, which is there's a way of approaching this text through sound, fundamental vibrations of sound and language. Lauren mentioned to me last night that coming up at Dharma Realm Buddhist University, there's going to be a particular seminar on this esoteric aspect, the 42 syllables of the Avatamsaka alphabet. They're mantras, but there's also a visual quality to them. Let me show you what it looks like. Here we are. Go here. Mega, here he is. This is it. Okay, so you start with A up here, you go to Ra, Pa, Cha, Na. This is Devanagari. This is the syllables, this is the writing script for Indic languages, Hindi and others. Here, in the inner circle, A, Lo, Po, Zo, Nang, right? Arapachana, and it goes around. There's one of them that Chinese requires 3 characters to say. There's 11 that require 2 syllables to say. All the rest are single syllables. And so in learning the Avatamsaka alphabet, which teacher number 5 has just finished teaching Sudana, you have to memorize the sounds. You have to, here we go. You have to visualize the symbols. And there is, interestingly enough, an inner aspect to it, which is to say, somehow there's some bio-psychic apparatus activated by these sounds. There's an internal system, you could say it's a software on your hard drive, your physical hard drive, that when you learn this and you ask for it to start, it turns to the right and it circles and it starts to release lights. And you can get it to go, and once it's going, if it merges and your cultivation is based on virtue and compassion and vows, they say, what does it do? I want to read you what Mega has said. By the way, this is a table of the syllables going across the top. A, Ra, Pa, Cha, Na. Here they all are. Right? You go like that, and then Ba, Da, Sha, Va, Ta, like that. Down to Cha, Ta, Da, like that. So that's the whole. So there are various aspects to it. And in the tradition, in the Mahayana tradition, it's not recited, it's chanted. You chant them to music. And if you have been part of a recitation of the Avatamsaka Sutra, which is one way that a lot of people approach the Avatamsaka, it's meant to be recited. Just, thus I have heard at one time the Buddha drop at Magadha, the gathering of bhikshus, 1,200. You're supposed to read it through, and people do it because it's Chinese. They go, Ru shi wo wen ni shi fo zai mo che ti da guo yu da bi chu zhong, like that. So it's bump, bump, bump. It's really lickety-split. After every scroll, you do a chunk of the Avatamsaka alphabet. And it's really slow, and it's really, can anybody do it, sitting here? Anybody know? There are a few nuns in our association who are good at it. And it's a tradition, and it's just as ornate as the bell song, you know, that I refuse to, I don't want to be disrespectful by chanting it wrong. So the Avatamsaka alphabet is quite marvelous, and it's meant to be chanted. To my mind, it is thoroughly, deeply embedded into Chinese musical culture. It's really Chinese. And if you've been hearing that aspect, your whole life to music, you can learn it and make it sound great, really good. I am not one of those people who can do that quite. And I respect it and deeply, admire it, bow to it. But I'm more interested in the esoteric side of things, I guess you'd say. That's how Master Hua presented it to us. There are, apparently in Malaysia, I don't know, whoever is interested, maybe Lauren can find a student. There's apparently a small book printed by DRBA that contains the Huayan Zimu. And it's ready for chanting. I haven't seen it. Have you seen it, Hua? Okay. It exists. So we have, I think Heng Yang Shi does it, chants it. I know Heng Liang Shi does it, and Jin Xuan at GCDR and others can do the Huayan Zimu. So there is that musical side of it, is there. We haven't yet put it into Western modes, but we might. It's coming up. Here is what the sutra says. Now, what's fascinating, and I'm going back a step because Sudana just learned it 2 weeks ago, and he's got to walk for 12 years carrying that instruction. Why? Because in between teachers number 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, it was a matter of weeks. He had to put his backpack on, lace up his boots, and go up mountains. He went up, the first teacher, he went up high on a mountain and saw his teacher across the valley on the other mountain. He had to go back down and up around to get him. So there is a physical aspect to this pilgrimage. He's sweating. He's getting exhausted. He's hungry when he arrives. He has to bathe and all. So when he goes to 5, Master Mega, first of all, I love this line. Mega greets him after he's asked the questions and been asked a question back. He praises him and he praises bodhisattvas, particularly Sudana. And then there's this nice conclusion. 迷戒如是，赞叹善财，灵珠菩萨皆欢喜。Mega's praise of Sudana pleased the bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas went, that was really well said. Him, huh? Yeah, he's pretty good. What else can he do? So the bodhisattvas are like, okay, here's this kid. Let's see what he can he do it? What does Mega do at that point? All the preliminaries are done. He's about to transmit his Dharma. Here is the teaching to the young man who's there like, Mega shines lights from his face. Some translations say from his mouth. And the lights go out and illumine the universe of the desire, form, and formless realm. Everybody who came into the light, the dragons, the spirits, even the Brahma gods, came to where he is. They say Lanka. He's in a village called, what's the name of his village? He descends from his throne, bows to Sudana. His place is called Sovereignty, 自在城, place called Sovereignty. So Mega sends lights out. Everybody sees the lights and go, oh boy, here's our chance to learn about the Avatamsaka alphabet, right? So they all come, and Mega, it says, what does he do? Here's the verb line. 迷戒大士即以方便为开示演说分别解释轮子品庄严法门. Then Mega, the great master, with skillful means, revealed, proclaimed, analyzed, and explained the Dharma method of adornment with the wheel of syllables, the Avatamsaka alphabet. Upon hearing the Dharma, everybody who hears it makes the great Bodhi resolve and reaches the 8th stage. They never retreat. Okay, Mega stands up, gets back up on his seat, and says to Sudana, this is what I want folks to understand. Let me read it in Chinese to be proper here. Here we go, from here. 善男子，我已获得妙音陀罗尼，能分别知三千大千世界中诸天语音， 诸龙、夜叉、千塔婆、阿修罗、迦罗罗、金罗罗、摩诃罗伽、人与非人，记住梵天所有语言。如此3000大千世界，十方无数，乃至不可说不可说世界，悉亦如是。He says, Good man, I have obtained the wondrous sound Dharani. I can know within the threefold universe the languages of gods, dragons, yakshas, gandharvas, asuras, garudas, kinnaras, mahoragas, humans and non-humans, up to and including the languages of Brahma gods. As it is in this threefold universe, so too throughout 10 directions and countless worlds, up to and including untold numbers of them. It's the same way. What has he done? He says, when I chant or turn the wheel of syllables, I get something called miao yin toloni. I get a mantra. A dharani is a mantra. That's another name for it, toloni. It says, zong yi che fa, chi wu liang yi. It gathers in, holds all dharmas, and zong yi che fa, and it gathers, it ties in all these dharmas, and it contains limitless meanings in it. When he gets that, I can know all the languages being spoken by all the different spiritual beings, including the gods. And then he goes on to say, here and everywhere. What is that? It's like we checked with a chatbot, and we got something like 1,600 languages alive on the planet right now. Some are disappearing as we speak. Others are computer languages are being invented. So there's new ones coming in and old ones leaving. He can know all of them with this Avatamsaka alphabet, syllable of wheels turning to the right. Somehow that allows him to do what? To get an algorithm that is basic. And hearing those very primal vibrations, they open up to every sound and all the meanings. How about that? Now, that's what he taught Sudana. And so we've gone ahead now. What does he say? He says, I only know that, but if you want to know what all the real bodhisattvas know, you got to go south and ask the next guy. Everyone is the same. And so he says, go and ask him how a bodhisattva cultivates, practices, accomplishes, amasses, and thinks of bodhisattva practices. So what does Sudana do? He bows at his feet, he cries, walks around him, looks up at him with longing admiration, says goodbye, and goes south. South is the direction of spring, it's green in color, it's new, fresh, and that's where he's going to learn. So he goes to elder liberation. Now, I wanted to go back a little bit because this is our kind of kicking off the next section, and we're back in Berkeley. What gets me about that is we have now Sudana, he pondered that Dharani for 12 years. The next section, we have come in our lecture, we come all this way to these 2 pages of things that he is doing next. He is, look at the verbs, he enters a gateway, he recollects, the gateway means faman, the entrance into subtle expedience, purity of mind, good roots, how to teach beings, bodhisattva's teaching, understand the wisdom, solidified vast great inclinations, guarded inclinations, etc. What's going on? By reciting that mantra, he's changing. He is not the same young man he was 5 teachers ago. This algorithm that was just given to him by Mega has scrambled everything he knew, and he has to absorb it now. He's got to reorient all of his knowledge and understanding because of what he's learning. if we really give our hearts to our meditation, if we really do teach as Shifu asked us to, or gave us the opportunity, we will change for the better, for the better. So people who take refuge report all kinds of things. People who take precepts, even the Eightfold Precepts, the Bhagwan Sajjiya, one night, one day. People say, wow, I had these insights about myself that I haven't had since I was a teenager, going through puberty, This is all so good to go back there and so uncomfortable because I see how far I've failed, how far I've fallen short of my dreams back then, What I thought I've just closed all these doors as I've gone, and I wonder if I should have. Maybe I should open them again, All these insights arise with every step into the Dharma. In this case, Sudana has had an earthquake happen in his consciousness. First 4 teachers, okay. He could absorb it en route to the next teacher. It took him 12 years to digest what he learned this time. Heavy duty. And a lot of this is about language, a lot of the teaching in the Avatamsaka. Why? The Avatamsaka Sutra is about bodhisattvas. What are bodhisattvas? They're made up of practices and vows. The Bodhi resolve being the first vow to get you going. And if you're going to make vows, what are the vows about? The vows say, I want to teach living beings, and I'll go last. They have to understand the Dharma and go before me, and then I'll follow up. That's pretty much the 4 bodhisattva vows, right? Living beings are infinite. Even so, I'm going to teach them all, right? 众生无边誓愿度. That even so is really key to that, right? 众生无边誓愿度, 法门无量誓愿学, right? 烦恼无尽誓愿成. Afflictions, even though those afflictions never end, we're always tying ourselves in knots. Even so, I'm going to find a way to transform them. Dharma doors, 法门无量誓愿学. Even though there are infinite numbers of practices, I'm going to master them all. The Buddha's way, 佛道无上誓愿. Even though the Buddha's way is the hardest thing to do, what else is going on, right? As Bhikshuni Heng Yin said, she said, might as well, ain't got nothing else to do, might as well cultivate, right? Ain't got nothing else to do, might as well cultivate, right? So every now and then you get this clarity that getting your advanced degree, getting your certification to the level of training, maybe you're physician's assistant, maybe you're aiming for supervisor of the engineering wing, right? Whatever the goal is, it's like, it's hard to do, it's worth doing, put in the effort, get advanced. Maybe you're a startup. Maybe you've got a wonderful idea. You got to float it to the angel investors and all. So that's all good stuff. You're growing, you're making commitments and sacrifices. Every now and then you get this clarity and you say, what hits the spot? Praise from other people, does that hit the spot? Briefly, right? The attention of someone who you really want the attention of, that significant person, that hits the spot, but then there's always something that is still unsatisfied. So what in the end is worth doing? Here's this body, we're breathing, we're alive, our blood is circulating, our heart is beating, our lungs are working. We've got this time. What's worth doing? Repaying kindness, that's pretty close to hitting the spot, right? Recognizing when people have been good to us, you want to do good back, because it feels right, reciprocity, That's a balance, that's a good thing. So you ask yourself, what is worth doing? And sometimes you can see further, and the answer comes back, what's really worth doing is discovering my potential and going for it. Aiming for what I'm supposed to do here. And of course, how do you know what you're supposed to do? What is your potential? You have to listen very carefully to yourself, right? Anybody see Moana 2? Any Disney fans? Really good movie. I just saw it on the airplane. I was above the ocean, she was down on the ocean. So every now and then Disney gets a really, really good job. Moana, she is a pathfinder. She's her civilization, her community on the island is shrinking, and the coconuts are coming up rotten, and the fish are fished out. And Dad says you can't go beyond the reef, too dangerous. And so she meets the wise woman in the village who says, actually, you've got a higher calling. And so she has all these songs about what am I supposed to do? Who am I and what is my mission? And it turns out that she is this marvelous traveler who goes beyond the reef and dares to go out to find new ground so that her people can thrive, can survive, can continue. So I totally got it, resonated with the film. And it's full of Disney humor. It's really got a good heart. And so the idea is the first half of the Bodhi Resolve, this Puti Shin says, what is my potential? What am I capable of? And what hits the spot is when you open to that question and listen carefully, and then start taking steps. And if it really is your potential, then there's help, and there's challenges, and there's difficulties, and you have to sacrifice, but then you get there. And that hits the spot, right? That satisfies. And you hear all these things, all of these cultural assumptions. Oh, I'm just a girl, and so science is not for me, right? Numerically, it's true. At about junior high, teachers are instructed to weed the girls out of the science classes, right? Used to be, not so much anymore, especially not in California, but it was the way. Home ec is better. Home ec, right? Remember home ec? Anybody take any home ec courses? Or am I a boomer? I'm just a hopeless boomer, right? It was home ec, right? Graciela remembers. So it's like every guy should be required to take home ec. Why? You want to eat? She's out there with her startup. She took the STEM classes and she's getting funded for the second round, And are you hungry? Well, try boiling water, dude, Oh, you didn't have home ec? Oh, too bad, right? Every guy should be required to take a home ec course. Very satisfying. Anyway, what is your potential? That's the first half of the Bodhi Resolve. The second half of the Bodhi Resolve says, how do you get there? And the answer is, listen very carefully and discover in yourself where your limits are, usually entirely self-imposed limits. Or you believed what they told you. For guys, what's the bad advice is, be a man and do it, right? Be a man. And it's outer directed. Sometimes it's good to be a man, be firm, but more often than not, it's like, listen inside and what is your mind telling you? What are you supposed to do? Sometimes that could be raising a child towards goodness and kindness. Could be. Sometimes it's learn everything you can about the creatures outside your door. Soil, look into soil. Take a square inch, a cubic inch of soil and count the beings in it, right? Trillions of beings in a teaspoon of water. Learn about them. Find everything you can about them. Don't go any, everybody has a different. My dad was a corporate lawyer. Toledo scales, no springs, honest weight. Anybody ever, pretty much it's all digital now. Anybody, you have to be a boomer. So, Graciela, did you ever see one in the grocery store? It was white ceramic and it had the balance, Libra sign, no springs, honest weight, Toledo scales. You're a California girl, you wouldn't know. This was East Coast, I guess. So, Toledo scales. My dad was the corporate lawyer. He settled their contracts and overtime, and it was all like that. He hated it. He had to argue with labor bosses, including Walter Reuther and people like that from AFL-CIO and all that. He didn't want to do that. My dad wanted to be sheriff of a small town. My dad wanted to be the law and order guy. He would have been very happy to settle fights. He was big. And to uphold, he wanted to be a peace officer. He really could have been very happy as a peace officer. As a result, he would come home from work just having argued over, 10% raise and things. So what did he do? My dad would come in, hang up, take off his tie, put his coat on his hanger and say, "You want to go hit some golf balls?" And I go, "Yeah, Dad." And I'd pick up a red plaid bag full of shagged, that was the verb, golf balls with a cut in the cover, bad golf balls. He had a bag of them. He would look at his golf bag and pick a 5-iron or a chipper, and we'd walk 3 blocks to the local public golf course, and it was after 5 p.m., and it was the third fairway. Everybody who had played through already, and I would take the bag and dump out the golf balls, and then see what club he had, and then walk the required distance, 10 yards, 50 yards, 100 yards. And my dad would go, bam, bam, Walter Reuther, bam, George Soros, bam, bam, and I would chase him, and I would put him in the bag, and by this time the mosquitoes are biting, and it was pretty much dark, and he would say, "You want to hit a couple?" And I go, "Yeah, Dad." I go, and he would go chase my golf balls, and then we'd walk home, and you could see my dad was like, relaxed. He'd gotten it out on these poor golf balls. And he didn't, but what guys, this is another story, and where the Bodhi resolve has to figure in here somewhere. Guys often have this challenge, which is wife and now that kid. Those kids, and that mortgage, and those debts. I gotta take that job, because this is how I'm going to support, going to do my part. So guys do this, tighten the belt, tighten the shoulders, put your head down, go do it. So, at the cost of the dreams, right, of the potentials. So there's all these issues. So, now, mind you, you're in the presence of 3 bhikshus and 1 bodhisattva precepts monk. We don't have any nuns here. I've been living in a nuns community. I live 7-minute walk up the hill over that way. But I've been with precepted women who said, actually, I'm going to take the option. I have an older sister who's got kids. That's fine. I have a brother who's got, my mom has got grandkids. I'm going to leave home. So here we have 3 monks here and one bodhisattva Shami who said, we're going for it. We're going for the vision. And we're not putting down making money. We're not putting down setting up a home and security. We're going to go. The sutra is a map, and the territory is the mind. And we're going to walk it. And anyone can. And it's a project. So we were responded to our inspirations, this one and his teacher, Master Empty Cloud. So here's the point. The Bodhi resolve is these 2 things. And what I'm giving you, I am decoding a phrase in Chinese. The Chinese phrase is 上乘佛道下化众生. You know that one? Above, becoming a Buddha. Below, teaching living beings. That's a mistranslation. That's a failure of translation because it puts the Buddha in Shang and it puts living beings down below. And there's a gap in between. That's not the way the Dharma teaches it. It's not directional, it's temporal. It's not direction, it's time. Shang means ultimately. The highest thing you can do is to realize your potential for wisdom. Shang. I can become a Buddha. You can become a Buddha. The only thing holding us back from realizing that potential is what? 众生. What are 众生? It's everything that I've coded on top of my mind that tell me I'm not a Buddha yet. And it's not just an idea. It's actual karmic decisions that we've made and the results. So, 下化众生, it means 当下. Immediately, 化, teach living beings. So ultimately I can become a Buddha. I've got to get to work right now to start teaching living beings. It's time, not space, for that 上乘佛道下化众生. You have to decode the Dharma phrases, and we're working on that one, and so is Sudana, here in this chapter, teacher by teacher. So the 下化众生 means the reason why we're not Buddhas now is because of this collective thing called ignorance, 无明. That's not a slam, it's a description of darkness that covers over what is fundamentally bright. What is it? It's collectively called false thinking, 妄想, which is the random mind that we just don't tame, right? It's just we allow our mind to ramble and go buzz, right? And when we can sit down with our mind, either in meditation or bowing, we discover that it's just like what? It's like static on a radio. Now, I don't know how many of you listened to a radio recently, but as a boomer, we used to have radio. It would be like going for a URL on your browser and getting one character wrong. What happens? Nothing happens, right? Change that character, boop, up comes the website, right? You want to type in your Wi-Fi password, it's a 8, and you type in a 6. No, it's not working. I don't know, what's wrong with the Wi-Fi, you know? Type in a 6, or type in the 8, and boom, you're online. Just like that. That's ignorance. That's false thinking that we don't correct through a Dharma method of many, many kinds. Once we do, suddenly we're like, oh yeah, I can see a little further now. So that's one thing, false thinking. What else? Opinions. What else? Prejudices. What else? Biases. What else? Desires. Desires say what you want is out there. Happiness waits for you to go get it. Go get it. That's what, and then you get it and you go, that wasn't it. I still want. I got it and it didn't satisfy. It's probably something else, right? Go out for it. Oh. And the Buddha says, yeah, let those desires go and the fire that pushes you out goes out. And then suddenly you realize you were there all along. You didn't have to move an inch. But how hard is that to embody? Those are the living beings of your nature, all those. The ignorance, the false thinking, the attachments, the delusions, the desires. All that stuff is called living beings. 自性众生. So the second half of the Bodhi resolve is teach them. That's what's keeping us from the first half of the Bodhi resolve, the Buddhahood. Is we let those living beings run all over us and we don't employ a Dharma. And boy, that's such a pernicious discovery. You go to Las Vegas and it says, America's playground. Everybody's happy. Nobody's happy. The house is happy. You see the faces of people on the bus driving back to LA who just lost all their money. You know. Whew. So, okay, you understand. So that's the Bodhi resolve. And Sudana, let's do a line or two. Then it's actually, I've only got 15 minutes here. We've been doing questions online. And Sam in Australia has been happily gathering in the questions that people have been asking online. And we're going to continue this every week. And I keep saying, we'll get to your question, I guarantee. And then I don't. So to give more time to the answering of the questions. But this is kind of a gathering in because of we're back and this is fresh. So folks, we've got 77 friends from all over here, Haining, Shandong, Jiangsu, etc. They are very faithful and listen every week. And they're saying, sure, you're reviewing all this. Yeah, but we've got some new friends here who came to get oriented. Next week, for sure, we'll be full speed into elder liberation. Let's do a couple lines. What is happening? Look at this. All of this is what Sudana is going through as the algorithm stirs up everything he thought he knew. It's all fresh now. Let's just do this part down to the 12 years. We'll finish up. It's just these few sentences. I'll give you a line, and you give them back to me. Are we ready? Here we go. 清净妙法，充满其心，普至三昧，明照其心，心恒普入，平等境界，如来智慧，之所照处，一切滞留，相续不断，若身若心，不离佛法，一切诸佛神力所加，一切如来光明所照，成就大愿，愿身周遍，一切刹往，一切法界，普入其身。Good stuff. Okay. Now, let's read this together. And remember, punctuation is your friend. It tells you where to breathe. We get to that period. You take a breath, see the white space. These are mostly just statements. If it gets too long, you follow me and I'll tell you where to take a breath. Ready? Here we go. All together. Pure and wonderful Dharma filled his heart. Period. Take a breath. The samadhi of universal wisdom clearly lit up his mind. His mind constantly entered the state of impartiality. Thus come one's wisdom touched his heart. Omniscience flowed without pause. His body and mind were never apart from Buddha dharmas. Period. Take a breath. He was aided by the spiritual powers of the Buddhas. He was illuminated by the light of the thus come ones. He accomplished great vows. His bodies created from vows pervaded networks of worlds. Period. Take a breath. All Dharma realms universally entered his body. Okay. Now, a lot of these states that are... So the sutra is telling us this is a handbook. This is just like what you get from IKEA with all the arrows and descriptions of putting the table and don't leave any pieces out when you're done, you know. Oh my God, I left a couple screws out. You know, I thought it was done. So this is one of those instructional sheets. You fold it out, fold it out, fold it out, and there you go with the instructions. And it's what happens to the human mind when these practices are practiced. It really is a description. It's as impartial as a PDF that you download to tell you how to put it together, how to make it work, right? Pure and wonderful Dharma filled Sudana's heart. The samadhi of universal wisdom lit up his mind. Because why? That's what he learned from Mega. It's working. It's working on him now. And it's something. His mind entered the state of impartiality. He's losing things he hates and things he loves. It's all becoming made up of conditions. Then it comes together, conditions fall apart, it's gone. It's physics as he's watching the universe based on 12 links of conditioned arising. Thus come one's wisdom touched his heart. Now, this is how we know that he is yet a very young cultivator. He has 53 stages to go through. This is number 6, right? The Buddha's wisdom touched his heart, hasn't made it work yet. Omniscience flows without pause. He knows omniscience, all knowledge. His body and mind were never apart from the Buddha Dharmas. He's starting to live by the precepts. It's natural for him now to prefer calmness to excitement, right? He is not drawn to coloring outside the lines. He wants to color inside the lines until the lines disappear. He's aided by the spiritual powers of the Buddhas. He's illuminated by the light of the Skambhans, two essentially same states, subtle differences. His vows are starting to come real for him. Now, two interesting things. The bodies made from vows, what would it be? Anybody read the Pumanpin? Guanyin Bodhisattva's Universal Door chapter, 32 bodies made from vows. The vows are, I'm going to help teach. You can't only do it in one body if you're going to be effective. You have to, sometimes you're a mom, sometimes you're a teacher, sometimes you're a daughter, sometimes you're a sister. You have to move through all these bodies to accomplish all the roles. Sometimes you're a dad, sometimes you're a brother, sometimes you're a son. Same body, but very different body, right? You respond in different ways as you are called on. All Dharma realms universally entered his body. Have you ever stood next to an NBA player? He's not here. Yes. And you're 6'2", right? And how tall was he? Yeah, exactly. When you're standing next to a real NBA player, it's like suddenly it's like, how tall is Steph Curry? 6'6". And he's a shrimp, right? Is he 6'6" or 6'3"? Steph Curry's 6'6", right? 6'3". He's 6'3", right? And how do you know that, Alan? Oh, okay, you're told. Okay. How do I? Don't ask. Okay. Steph Curry's 6'3", and he's the all-time shooting champ of Buddhist basketball history, and our beloved retired dentist, I won't mention his name. He was walking on the, as you go over the Dumbarton Bridge to the right is those salt flats. What's that park? It's called the Bay Trails Park, something like that. He was out with his camera taking pictures of shorebirds. He bumped into Steph Curry. And he said, Steph is just like everybody. He's so normal guy. He's like, yeah, sure, no, I'm happy to write. Yeah, that was a game, wasn't it? Yeah, nice to see you, friend. He says, hope to see you at the time it was the what is it by the airport? The arena there? The Coliseum. He said, I'll see you at the Coliseum someday. They hadn't gone to Chase Center yet. So it's like, and then when you get one of the giants, one of the 6'9", 6'11" guys, you realize that it's not all the same. Different bodies can do different jobs. So his body's created from vows, pervaded networks of worlds. So, and then, look at this last one. All Dharma realms universally entered his bodies. 一切法界普入其身. So what do we know about the Dharma realms? Well, there's the 4 sages, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Prachekas, and Arhats. Then there's the 6-spoked path. We are in touch with the humans and the animals. But there's also devas, and some people see gods, I don't know. Some people see ghosts, I don't know. Asuras and hell dwellers, right? And he is able now, because his compassion is starting to open up, he can feel with all the beings who are moving through different realms. He can feel them, associate with them, find ways to teach them. He will even talk to MAGA Republicans, even, right? Without rejecting them. Man, that takes some real samadhi. Okay. So, not that we don't do politics. So. Okay, so then what happens? 12 years pass. He is about to, I think everybody collectively held their breath there for a minute. So he goes on his pilgrimage for 12 years, and he is now able to get the teaching. He hasn't been taught yet by elder liberation. That's still coming. The next thing he does is he goes up and asks his question. And so next week we're going to hear his questions. He just spits them out. There's a tide of things he wants to know. There's like 20 questions that he's been pondering for 12 years. Finally he meets his teacher. They all come out, please tell me, Shifu, what I need to know. And Elder Liberation goes, oh, very well. He says, I've got an answer for you. It is a good answer. It is not the last answer, but I want you to learn this because it's how I got enlightened, how I woke up. So that's what's coming. That's what's coming next. And you see there are 23 questions who have come in here. All right. Sam has been very busy posting them. Before we do that, we're going to sing a song. This is one of those seasons in the Buddhist calendar. What is it? It's Mother's Day coming up, right? Y'all, I didn't miss it, did I? No, Mother's Day's coming up. So there's that. Tomorrow, I thought so. What else is it? Buddha's birthday. Come and bathe the Buddha here. One of the best parts about being a Buddhist in the Bay Area is you can attend 5 different Buddhist birthday ceremonies. Everybody has a different calendar. So, so happy birthday Buddha over and over every year. It is also Master Hua's 30th, you want to say celebration, observance of his entering nirvana, coming next week. So we've got a lot on our calendar. Can you all see the lyrics? Is it big enough in the back? Jinwei Shi, big enough or bigger? A little bigger. Bigger, a little bigger. There we go. That means I'll have to scroll more. So, okay, every year at Buddha's birthday we go Tian Shang Tian Xia Wu Ru Fo Shi Fang Shi Jie Yi Wu Bi Shi Fang Yi Qie Wo Jun Jian Shi Fang Shi Jie Wo Ju Jian Yi Qie Wu You Ru Fo Zhe, we say. That is, this 2 lines, upon the earth, below the sky, the Buddha has no peer. In 10 directions everywhere, he is beyond compare. I've searched around the whole wide world. Shi Fang Shi Jie Wo Jun Jian. You'll never find a wiser one, Yi Qie Wu You Ru Fo Zhe, than Buddha anywhere. So that was too short, so I added some verses. But you've learned that this is the tune is Amazing Grace, which is, everybody knows, right? I'll pitch it down so everyone can find the right pitch. Right? You know that one? Ready? Here we go. Upon the earth below the sky, the Buddha has no peer. In 10 directions everywhere is beyond compare. He's gone searched around this whole wide world. Now I can declare you'll never find a wiser one. Last line again. You'll never find a wiser one. And do the big finish anywhere. Well done. Okay, I nominate that for the new Buddha's birthday song. And if you want to sing it, come tomorrow. Jin Chuan is going to lead us in singing that song. All right. Now, Sam is probably apologizing to all the people who've been faithfully asking questions. Let's dig in here. Okay. The Avatamsaka Sutra teaches that the great bodhisattvas all possess great strength and great wisdom. They are able to subdue sentient beings. You want to read the Chinese? Go ahead. For those beginners who do not yet have the great strength and wisdom described in the sutra, when faced with various matters of daily life, one may feel physically and mentally exhausted. Over time, this can give rise to afflictions. In such circumstances, how can one maintain an unwavering resolve and avoid feelings of weariness and discouragement? If you feel weary and discouraged, imagine what a Shifu, a real Shifu, feels watching his disciples nod their heads, make promises, and then get swept up in their karmic habits and go back to square one. It is not easy I watched our teacher get disappointed by me over and over again. I was such a washout over and over. I've compared notes with our Master Heng, who is my senior, and we just go, oh man. We caused Shifu so much heartache. He set up all these expedients for us that were good and clever, and we So Master Haideng, right, the abbot of Shaolin Monastery, 50 times martial arts champion of all of China, could do a one-finger stand, Haideng Laofashi, right? So he came, Shifu greeted him, invited him to, Wesley, you're recording that? I don't want this story out there. Okay, photo's fine, okay. So, and so all of you recording this, no, never mind. Okay, so Master Haideng he explained the Shurangama Sutra. Shifu requested Dharma from his knees, right? He gave a demonstration in Chinatown at, the Rialto, or one of those old Chinatown theaters, where he invited policemen and Marines up on stage to take a baseball bat and hit him on the body anywhere but his head. And they went, you're kidding. We're this elderly Chinese gentleman. He said, go ahead, pussy. Master Haideng, So there's even says, nobody calls me a pussy. Takes a baseball bat and wails on the monk, and the old monk goes, ha ha, jumps back a step. He says, 我有拍打功的功夫，你打不到我. He's got the ability to move chi anywhere in his body. They took the baseball bat and started beating him every time they hit him, just like Joe Palooka. Anybody have a punching bag growing up? You hit it, and it's, Budao Weng in Chinese, right? Bonk, jump back up, bonk, bonk. He says, I guess you guys just don't have it. And they're like, sir, we don't, He didn't do a one-finger stand. He did a two-finger stand for us because he was already elderly. Shifu had it set up. We learned later that Marty and I were going to go to Shaolin Monastery and get trained. So we picked Shifu's at CTDB with us. Master Haideng's in San Francisco. We get in the car, and Shifu had prepared something for us to consume that would have done who knows what. And so our lunchtime came, and they had packed a lunch for us because we were going to have to eat in the car, 2 hours coming down. So we started eating, and I kept eating, and I kept eating, because I was somehow energized. And after half an hour, Shifu looked at me and heaved a sigh and said, 如是我吃, thus I have eaten. And I knew that I had somehow failed the test before it even began. So Master Haideng looked at Marty and he went, "Oh, 老教授." And he looked at me and he said, "Oh, 大学生." Marty is the old professor and I was the college student. He didn't invite us. And we're like, "I'm so sorry, Shifu," over and over. So how exhausted does a teacher get with unwavering resolve and avoid weariness and discouraged? He doesn't. Why? The answer is, in a single word, vows. 发愿. The power of vows of a real bodhisattva, unshakable. That's the answer to your question. 他就发愿不退，他的愿力. He's seen, I think, my guess is, most teachers watch their students fall flat. So there's always another expedient. Why do we hear about Fang Bian Fa so many times? That's why. But man, I can't forget that, and that's one of a dozen ways that I completely fell flat on my teacher. What can you say? So, let's see here. Are we ready? Buddha Root Farm. Don't forget, this year, Guanyin recitation. Here are the dates. June 21st to June 27th. If you want to go to work week, go early. Check out, it's buddharootfarm.org. People from China should be able to dial into that, no problem. Here is the application. Check it out. It is a wonderful experience. Look at this photo. That's the bridge over the Smith River. That looks like Jin Wei, the tall monk right there. Yeah, there's the Smith River. So check it out, Buddha Root Farm. Okay, what else? Ukiah Book Fair. Oh boy, oh boy. This is a brand new activity being planned by our nuns at CTDB. Ukiah Book Fair. The activities here are just incredible. Dharma Master Jin Ro, along with her team, have produced prize-winning children's books. And through that, they have invited, and they've got to know and invited children's book authors. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check it out. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Look at all these authors who are going to show up in their booths to talk about their books. There will be storytelling. Look, right? This is the network. Native Americans, Pomo people will be there. We've got lion dance, dragon dance, fan dance, taiko drumming, food, tours of CTDB. This is going to be the most expedient way to get people in the door that I've heard of. Are you involved, Yuan?
This way.
Nice. Okay. 加油. This is fantastic. Really good. Really good. So I have another event that's going to keep me away, but otherwise I would definitely be there. Okay. Berkeley Buddhist Monastery. Here we go. Happening here tomorrow. Buddha's birthday. It's online for folks who are currently in Heilongjiang or Xinjiang. You can dial in if you want, get up that early. So here are the links. Go to berkeleymonastery.org, click on the link. Ukiah Valley Kids Book Fair, right there. That's where the info is. And there we go. We'll have to, after tomorrow, we got to renew our website. All right. Well done, everyone who's from near and far. Sam, I promise I'll get to those questions. Tell everybody next week. Okay. Now, we have to dedicate merit ourselves. Let's do Medicine Buddha mantra tonight. We've got plenty of illnesses to counter with some wholesome Dharma medicine. This works just like any other dedication, except we have to make a wish. And this is of the 10 small mantras, this is number 7, I believe. Yao Shi Guan Ding Zhen Yan, in Sanskrit. Sounds good. Samyak Sambuddhaya Vasaji Vasaji Vasaja Samugate Samyak Sambuddhaya Vasaji Vasaji Vasaja Samugate. One more time. Samyak Sambuddhaya Vasaji Vasaji Vasaja Samugate Swaha. Boy, from here, that sounds great. I get all of your voices coming to my ears. That's terrific. What a deal. And we have a image of Guan Yin that includes a picture of Shifu, so we can just bow right here. Here we go. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Okay, much gratitude to all the helpers who put this lecture online, in Chinese and Vietnamese and the technology team. And that's it for us for this week. We'll see y'all next week. Aum Tuo Pho.